Alright, here we go. This is a 1999 Lexus ES300. It has the 3-liter V6 variable valve timing. That's what I'm going to chase today. Got all kind of stuff hooked up already. I do have the tripod. I hear voices in the background.
Come on, man.
I don't need to eat lunch. I want to do this.
Check engine lights on.
I know, see? Right there. Check engine light. Traction light, which is just comes on because of the check engine light. You can see the mileage that's on it. So I'll put it on the tripod so I don't shake. Alright, so on the codes menu, turn that little light off somehow. There we go. We go to the codes. I have the random misfire, cylinders 2, 4, and 6. I have a 420, which is actually bank 1. Cylinders 2, 4, and 6 are bank 2, and that corresponds with the 1354 VVT fault bank 2. A lot of times, I've seen this a bunch of times without this VVT code, and you would just get the 2, 4, and the 6 misfire and the random. So I'm just showing this. This is going to be easier for diagnostic purposes because that code is there anyway, but I'm just showing this so you can see what's going on in this system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my actuator test, and I can actually command these VVT solenoids on and off and watch it work. So I have stuff graphed. Let's move over to the scope. Alright, on the wiring diagrams I can show you what I have graphed. I actually have the crankshaft position sensor graphed here. It's like they all share a common return. I'm on the black-red wire here. I'll show you where that's at. And right now I have the left VVT, which would be the forward one near the radiator. That's cylinders 2, 4, and 6. The ones on the firewall side are 1, 3, and 5. That would be over here. So I have this VVT sensor, which is your cam sensor, back probe, so we can look at that signal. So I also have the left VVT, the oil control valve instrumented, and I'm on the green-red wire, which is the control side, the positive side. The other one is a negative. You can't really see the minus here, but it's the negative. And when I back probe that one always is showing near 0. So it looks like it's a duty cycled positive control. So if you see on my old Vantage here, you can see the positive pulse on the VVT control solenoid, even here at idle. So if I go over to the other one, which I did, it's the same signal. So it's trying to do something even at idle. So if I go over to my bank 2 VVT control, of course it'll take a while to load up. Alright, so you can see the duty cycle at idle. It's pulsing the solenoid. And here's the Solus on the control side, bank 2. You can see in the top right corner it's off right now, at least my control of it. And if I just hit the on, you can see it went to on. You can see my duty cycle changed on the lab scope part, and nothing's happening. It should be misfiring. So if I go, we'll turn it off, and I'll go to, I'm going to go to bank 1 just so you can hear it happen. Alright, with bank 1 I got the old Vantage on the control side of the bank 1 VVT, and if I turn it on you'll see it go on. You'll see my duty cycle change, and I don't know if you can hear it. Turn it on and off, it actually makes it run rough. So on, off, and my light went off. So you can see number 1 is working, so I'm going to go back to number 2. I believe it's sticking. Alright, so back on bank 2. You see my duty cycle just sitting here in idle. I'll turn it on. You see the duty cycle change, but nothing's happening with the engine. I'm just going to give that valve a little tap with the base of a pry bar. And nothing happened. Yay! And nothing happened. Okay, it started to move. It's starting to run a little bit rough. So I'll turn it off. And it still stays there. Still running rough. So I'm going to show you on the lab scope what I'm looking at. But before I do that, I'll show you where I'm hooked up. Now you can see right here, I turned it off and it knows it's in the wrong spot. It must, because you could see my pulse width changing as it's trying to make the solenoid close to the right position. So if I tap it again, there you go, it moved. Now I have my regular duty cycle again. So I'm going to show you where I'm graphed here, or where I'm hooked up. So this is hard to see, and it was actually hard to instrument. I had to do it from the bottom. So you can see on this side of the belt here, you can see the part of my test lead right there crimped over, and I'm back probing the wire on the crank sensor. So it's down there. I'll try to get a better picture of it. And then over here, underneath these wires here, you have the cam position sensor. They were calling it something different on the scanner, or on the wiring diagram. And then over here, you have the VVT solenoid and the electrical connector, and you can see it looks crappy anyway. And then back probe right here. So that's where I'm instrumented. The bank 1 VVT solenoid is over here. I can get a good picture of that one. Underneath that hose with that 10mm bolt about 11 o'clock. I also have that back probe because I was going to show you some waveform. So on the lab scope, the channel 1, the yellow one, is my crank trigger, and channel 2 is my right VVT. So from what I could tell, I played around with my scales a little bit. So what I did is I set them both at a 50 volt scale just so I could get a clean signal. It looked like 50 milliseconds was the right one, and I actually put a trigger on number 2. I can sit here and talk over the compressor. Or I could try to seamlessly edit that out. And on channel 2, if I just get rid of the cursor, so there's no way to stop it on a fixed point. And if I pause the movie and play it, you can see it looks like there's 4. We'll go with number 1 being right there. My first one. Looks like there's 4 pulses on the cam position sensor for every crank revolution. So I got one that kind of lines up pretty good with my, cylinder 1 or TDC reference on the crank sensor. And then there's going to be one, who knows how many teeth, I'm not going to bother counting. And then it looks like maybe 2-to-1 ratio. So there's 2, and then there's my crank trigger again. And then there's one in the middle, and then my 4th one lines up again. I'm not going to bother with the math there, but this is my engine running smooth signal. So if I play it, and then I go and actually put a trigger on channel 2, and then I could move the cursor if I want, but what I did is I came down a little bit to the bottom of that sine wave so it would stay in a fixed position. So I'm going to see every, other one or every whatever 4th one line up with that crank trigger. We'll just move it over here a little bit so we can see that. So with that being said, when I energize that solenoid, this should change. I'm going to go with this as a known good because the engine seems to be running well. So if I can get that to stay somewhere. What happened? I lost my ground. What? And that's what a lab scope reading looks like with no ground. Okay, hook that back up. Get my junk out of the way. Knock it off again. Without looking at the scanner part, because we've been there already, I'm going to turn that VVT solenoid on. You see my duty cycle change, and you can see every other time my cam and crank line up in the same spot. So it's not moving. I did check the oil. There's oil in it. So if I tap on it, you can see now I'm not lined up and it's misfiring, it's running bad. So if I pause this and play the movie, you can see that now I'm a couple teeth off with my cam crank relationship. And then if I play the movie again, put it back here, and then I turn off the VVT solenoid, I go back down to my off signal, and it's still misfiring, but you can see the computer is trying over here. The computer is trying to bring it back, and it's not doing it. It's still, if you watch the blips, I'm still in the same spot. So it's sticking both directions, off and on. If I tap it again, And now I'm back to where I was before. So if I pause this one, show where I'm at, I'm now lined up again. So I have a sticking solenoid, it's as simple as that. I just figured I'd show it on a graph. One of these days hopefully I have a 4-channel and then we can see where the other ones line up all together, but I can, since I have the other sensor graphed, I could show that one, but it's going to look the same. It's going to be off on the other two. So the VVT oil control solenoid is right here. There's a one bolt to take it out. There's the electrical connection there. All I'm doing is tapping on it to make it move. So all you gotta do is unplug it, take this 10mm bolt, that one right there, take it out, then drop it, and they usually just pop right out. There it is. So here's my faulty VVT solenoid. Here's the new one. Came in a fancy little bag. It's a Dorman. It's like 65, 70 bucks our cost. And you can't really see it now, but the tab on there, the bank 1 and 2 are, the tab is oriented differently, so that's the only thing I think is different between them. But if you get the wrong one, you can't bolt it down. So always want to make sure that your tab lines up. So we'll throw that in and we'll test it. Alright, it's all back together. I'm going to energize the VVT solenoid, and we'll hopefully watch it react quickly and shut off quickly. So here is on, oh, and the car is really misfiring, you can tell for sure. And you can see if I pause it, play the movie, you can see that I am a couple teeth off of my reference signal, and my duty cycle is a lot wider. And then if I play it and I turn it off, car smooths out, my duty cycle changes, pause it, and I am right back at known good, my original known good. So that works good. It's not sticking anymore, so pretty confident we can call this one fixed. Thanks for watching.